What's up, y'all? Happy Homebrew Wednesday. It's my first Homebrew Wednesday in forever. But what we're going to do right now, I'm about to pour myself a beer. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to cut over to last week, which is going to look very similar to this week, except just no hat. Got something insane in the mail. So I'm going to leave it at that, pour myself a beer. I'll be back after you see it. Cheers. If there was any doubt about how awesome the BrewTubers community is, I've got an example of the utmost, like, ridiculous. Let me show you what just came in the mail. This came by airmail, Royal Mail. Try not to get addresses in here. Rhubarb cordial. Good call. Here we go. Let's see what's may have to speed this up because this was well taped. And I actually like the ingenuity with the packaging too, being in this longer format box instead of something bulkier. So if you follow some of the other guys on YouTube, this is the transatlantic rhubarb saison that Homebrew Griffo in Wales and I have quote unquote been collaborating on. He did all the heavy lifting. He brewed it. He had several different things that he tweaked from my suggestions, but we'll call it a collaboration just for the sake of it. This is his rhubarb saison, and he sent me 2 500 milliliter bottles from the UK, which is just ridiculous. And on top of that, awesome bottle opener. I'm going to do special review when these sit in the fridge for a while and calm down. I can see they're a little shaken up and it was bottle conditioned. But look at that. Awesome label. Can't thank you enough. We're going to get to these and do a special review for them. Cheers. Back. How ridiculous is that? From Wales. From Wales. I've got a rhubarb saison. I think, actually, after I'm done filming this, I think I'm just going to jump right over and finally do that review. I'm crazy pumped about it. So we'll get to that soon. Can't thank Homebrew Griffo enough. Poured myself in a dirty glass. Awesome. I'm killing it. Is beer that's been on tap for a little while. I think my last Homebrew Wednesday video was a brew day of this beer. This is the Pale Ale Low Hoppiness IPA that I was doing that day. So I had 2 brews going on that day. One was this, which is probably closer to a pale than an IPA. And then the other one I had was the Belgian ale with the hibiscus. Let's do a quick kind of recap of that. This beer turned out really well. It stayed pretty cloudy, which is perfectly fine with me. A lot of dry hop. That was with the Urilo, Triskel, and one other hop. I'm blanking right now. It turned out really nice. I liked the hops. But I love the yeast. This is the one that I used, the F1 strain from the guy in Denmark, Poland, yeesh, which is the hybrid of the Conan strain and WLP 644. Crazy fruit, a lot of stone fruit, pretty floral. I think it's a combination of the Triskel hops, but also that yeast. I saved some. I'm going to keep using that along with the other strain. So this turned out really well. I'm really enjoying it. It's very floral. Lots of stone fruit, good carbs, holding on to it. It's got some pretty good legs on it, even though it's like 5.5%. It's really tasty. The other beer was good, the Belgian. That yeast combination of having both the Tired Hands yeast and the Spencer Trappist yeast together, I don't know if it was the best combination. Maybe it was just the beer itself. It was pretty good. The hibiscus didn't jump out as much as I wanted to, but it was nuanced. It was nice. It was easy drinking, but nothing spectacular. I've got that, you know, a pull off of that yeast. I'm going to keep using it. I just realized I'm being festive. But nothing spectacular off of it. I would be drinking that right now too, sampling it. The keg kicked last night, but thankfully I pulled off a few bottles before, so I've got a few bottles left. So what else has been going on at Not on Sundays? Going to try and recap some stuff real fast. I think I'm going to wait till next week to get into the any updates on the sour stuff got going on. I think I've got a couple that are starting to get towards either putting them on fruit or whatever it might be, so that's pretty cool. I just kegged a couple days ago the Imperial Stout, Russian Imperial Stout, that I did with the two buddies from my homebrew club that's been sitting in the barrel. It's been forever. I think it's been in the barrel probably 6 months, and it's tasting fantastic. So that's been kegged. I put it in a keg a couple days ago, really put it on gas last night, and let's just let that gradually carb at about 7 psi. My kegerator sits about 42 degrees. Give it a real nice low carbonation, and just crazy pumped about that beer. I'll probably drink just a little bit off the tap, and then I'll bottle most of it off the keg. So that's awesome. Super pumped for that. What else we got going on? Shout out to everybody. Congratulations to everyone who made it to the second round of the SJ Porr Challenge. What a cool experience. Getting to taste all the great beers that were vastly different styles. I've been watching other people's reviews as well from around the globe, not only just in the US. It's been really awesome. You're going to figure it out. I did move on to the second round, so I'm pretty pumped about that. So, and even more so just because now I get to taste the winners from the other areas. I mean, if I do well in the second round, so be it. That would be fantastic, but I'm pumped about tasting all these other beers that made it on. Just sound like some phenomenally made beer that I'm going to get to try. So that's going to come up soon. There'll be more reviews from the SJ Porr Challenge from me. Sorry if you get tired of watching them, but I'm going to do them. Crazy pumped about that. That being said, I barely have enough to cover the second round of my... I barely have enough of my beer to cover the second round. So, I mean, barely. So, I'm going to rebrew that very soon. I've got a shipment of supplies coming in tomorrow. A combo of... I bought enough supplies that I need to rebrew that twice if I want to. Luckily, it's a beer that ages well, even though it's low ABV. Not going to quite reveal which one is mine. But pretty pumped about that. So I got several brew days coming up pretty soon. I'm probably going to do a double batch each time I rebrew that because it's convenient being that low ABV. I get 10 gallons. Half of it's that beer. Half of it's something different, just like I did with this. I'm really starting to like that big 10-gallon brew day out of one mash. It's been fantastic. It's so easy, less time consuming, but that's going to be fun. So I've got that coming up too. I don't know that there's a whole lot of the report. Like I said, I'm going to update sour long-term projects, bready projects coming up. Probably next week if I can get to it. And I'm going to leave that at that this week. I think I'll probably hit about 10 minutes. So cheers to you guys. Look at that. I mean, that's Lou Brew. Almost Lou Brew legit hazy. Also going to try and get some beer mail out pretty soon to some guys I've been chatting with. So cheers to y'all out there. Sorry it's been so long between Homebrew Wednesdays and that this has been uneventful. I'll get a little bit more action here pretty soon. I'm going to do some bunch of yeast starters, grow up a bunch of yeast I've got going on around here, and we'll go from there. And next week maybe we'll talk about the next beer that's going in that barrel that the stout came out of. So we're going to hit that as well. Cheers, guys. It's good to be back. I think I'm going to get on to a beer review. Transatlantic Saison. Here we go. Cheers, y'all. Have a good one.